tons of ways people like you can help kids like me stay in school. And United Way is calling for you to be one of them. Because it takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between me becoming one or the other could be you. Make me a success, not a statistic.
Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Getting a parking ticket isn't fun, but it happens. It's best to deal with it right away, but if you've put it off, you'll need to find out where you stand.
How do I check the status of a parking ticket online?
You can check the status of your ticket online by logging on to the Department of Finance at nyc.gov. Just enter the ticket information or your license plate number. You can find out how much you owe or whether a ticket is in judgment. If you can't find your ticket online, don't panic. A printed ticket status is usually available within 4 days, and a handwritten ticket can take up to 3 weeks to be posted. Not contesting the ticket? Just use a major credit card to pay the fine online. Find it, pay it, and forget it.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Have you ever either wanted to get in or out of your driveway only to discover that a stranger's car or truck is blocking it?
How do I report a vehicle blocking my driveway?
All drivers with a valid New York license are taught that blocking a driveway is a violation. In fact, the Department of Motor Vehicles states that you cannot park in a driveway, period. And yet the problem persists. So instead of doing something rash, register your complaint by contacting 311. There you could file a report letting them know that your driveway is being blocked. Or you could contact your local police precinct. Cars can be ticketed and towed. And if that happens, the perp will pay. Because fines are steep. It won't be cheap.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
With more than 8 million people living in the city, there's a whole lot of garbage and recyclables to collect. So to keep things running smoothly, there's a timetable for pickups in all 5 boroughs.
What is my garbage and recycling pickup schedule?
Your pickup day and time depends on where you live in the city. To find out, simply go to nyc.gov and search Refuse Collection Schedule. But remember, you won't be seeing that garbage truck on city holidays. Really bad weather, like a snow or ice storm, which can make getting around tough, can also mean delays or cancellations. And it's not just your wardrobe that changes with the seasons. Pickup times do too. Just go to the website to find out when to take out your trash and recyclables and when to remove your empty bins from the curb. How do I find a police precinct or police service area based on name or address?
Each neighborhood across the 5 boroughs has a specific police precinct assigned to it, and it can be very helpful to know which one is closest to you.
If you're trying to locate a police precinct or one of the 9 public housing police service areas, also known as a PSA, there are 2 ways to find the information on your computer. Log on and go to nyc.gov. Type in police precinct to find it by name, or type in find your precinct to locate it by address.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
This is the sound of a brand new outdoor grill being hurled off a 20-story building. Now a stylish glass coffee table. An electric guitar. These are the things you could enjoy, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Visit EnergySavers.gov and get tips on how to save energy and money. Then do things like switch to Energy Star light bulbs or Energy Star appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. So this doesn't happen to the recliner you've had your eye on, or this to the treadmill on your wish list, or this to the shiny new bike your kid's been asking for. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Did you know that New York City has a store? Well, it does. It's the City Store, the official store for the City of New York, where you can find everything from gifts and collectibles to municipal publications like the Green Book, and including a diverse collection of books about New York. So come to the City Store, located in the North Plaza of the Municipal Building. For more information, dial 311 or visit www.nyc.gov.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
How do I get water and sewer bill information?
When clean New York City water comes out of your tap, it's part of a system that supplies over 9 million people. The Department of Environmental Protection's website is a fast, easy, and convenient way to view and pay your water bill. Go to nyc.gov and search DEP, Ways to Pay Your Bill. There you can look at water usage and spot leaks and water waste that can cost you money. If you want to pay your bill by mail, phone, or in person, you'll need your account number located on the upper left side of your water bill. You can pay by phone by calling 866-622-8292, or you can pay in person by visiting a DEP borough office. Sometimes just mentioning the word taxes sends people running for cover. It can be an overwhelming topic. And if you're a homeowner, understanding property tax is just one more thing on a long to-do list.
How do I get help understanding my property tax account?
If you have questions about your property taxes or your account bill from finance, there's help available. Log on to the finance section of nyc.gov. Here you can check your balance, estimate future taxes, and make a payment. There's also a list of frequently asked questions to answer or explain even the smallest problem, like how to replace your bill, how to pay online, or how to change your mailing address. Don't see your particular question? Contact the Department of Finance by email, traditional mail, or by contacting 311.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
If you've paid your parking ticket and are having a problem with the payment process, you can find help.
How do I get help with parking ticket payment problems?
Say, for example, you're owed a refund. If you're the registered owner of the car, the finance department will automatically issue a check for the overpayment within 30 days. If you're not the registered owner of the vehicle, procedures may be different, so make sure you save your tickets, payments, and tow receipts. Log on to the finance section of nyc.gov, click on refunds, and follow the instructions. You can file online or download a form to mail in later. Still can't find a solution to your problem? Contact 311 and a representative from the Department of Finance will get back to you.
Today might be the day I drop out of school. Today could be the last day I try. My parents alone can't stop me. My friends can't even stop me. But you might be able to. With United Way, you could tutor me, be my mentor, or volunteer to just read with me. If someone had helped me earlier, I might not be struggling. And studies prove that kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. There are tons of ways people like you can help kids like me stay in school. And United Way is calling for you to be one of them. Because it takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between me becoming one or the other could be you. Make me a success, not a statistic.
Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Getting a parking ticket isn't fun, but it happens. It's best to deal with it right away, but if you've put it off, you'll need to find out where you stand.
How do I check the status of a parking ticket online?
You can check the status of your ticket online by logging on to the Department of Finance at nyc.gov. Just enter the ticket information or your license plate number. You can find out how much you owe or whether a ticket is in judgment. If you can't find your ticket online, don't panic. A printed ticket status is usually available within 4 days, and a handwritten ticket can take up to 3 weeks to be posted. Not contesting the ticket? Just use a major credit card to pay the fine online. Find it, pay it, and forget it.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Have you ever either wanted to get in or out of your driveway only to discover that a stranger's car or truck is blocking it?
How do I report a vehicle blocking my driveway?
All drivers with a valid New York license are taught that blocking a driveway is a violation. In fact, the Department of Motor Vehicles states that you cannot park in a driveway, period. And yet the problem persists. So instead of doing something rash, register your complaint by contacting 311. There you could file a report letting them know that your driveway is being blocked. Or you could contact your local police precinct. Cars can be ticketed and towed. And if that happens, the perp will pay. Because fines are steep. It won't be cheap.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
With more than 8 million people living in the city, there's a whole lot of garbage and recyclables to collect. So to keep things running smoothly, there's a timetable for pickups in all 5 boroughs.
What is my garbage and recycling pickup schedule?
Your pickup day and time depends on where you live in the city. To find out, simply go to nyc.gov and search Refuse Collection Schedule. But remember, you won't be seeing that garbage truck on city holidays. Really bad weather, like a snow or ice storm, which can make getting around tough, can also mean delays or cancellations. And it's not just your wardrobe that changes with the seasons. Pickup times do too. Just go to the website to find out when to take out your trash and recyclables, and when to remove your empty bins from the curb. How do I find a police precinct or police service area based on name or address?
Each neighborhood across the 5 boroughs has a specific...
My name is Matt Schneider. I have to run the NYC Dad Team. I also have 2 kids in public school, a 3rd grader and a kindergartner. And I'm on a now 8-year leave of absence, child care leave of absence from PS 86 in the Bronx, where I was a 6th grade teacher.
Hi, I'm Gloria Corsino. I am the mom of 3 amazing young men. One is a college, soon to be college graduate, studies to be an occupational therapist, and 2 boys who are in District 75. I'm currently CEC president of District 75, and one of those advocate moms just like you guys. Advocate Karen.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Seals-Allers. I'm the founder of Multimanual.com. I have a 4th grader and an 8th grader in public schools. I'm also the proud product of New York City Public Schools, District 26 Queens. Anyone? And very, very excited about learning more about what this can mean for my children and my family.
I'm Nicole Feliciano. I'm the CEO and founder of Mom Trends. I have a kindergartner and a 3rd grader in private school, and it was very tough to make those choices. So I think I'm representing a unique voice here as somebody who kind of opted out of the public school system.
Hi, I'm Serena Moore. I'm the managing editor of Mom Trends. I have 2 kids in Brooklyn. I also went through public school in New York City from kindergarten to 12th grade. My daughter, who's in kindergarten, is in a charter school.
Hello, I'm Marco Karen. I'm the commissioner for Community Affairs Unit. I wish I had a full-sounding blog that I could promote here. Unfortunately, I don't, but I hope I'm inspired today, so thanks for coming.
Welcome to our humble home. How are you? Welcome, everyone. Well, we, normally the blue room that we're in here is the site of the traditional format press conference with the podium and the chairs full of media. I think this is the first time it has been, I don't know this for a fact, I'm going to surmise, but maybe the first time it has been converted to a parent blogger forum. And if that is the case, and we are making history here together, I think it is noble history. And I want to thank everyone involved. We had a great experience on the campaign. Rebecca, you were a part of it, where we brought together bloggers who spoke for parents and spoke to parents. And it was a very important moment because it was this wonderfully direct conversation. It was people relating to those on the front line in a very unedited, unfiltered, direct democracy kind of way. And it was incredibly inspiring. We did that, I remember, with Cynthia Nixon, and who's, of course, one of the great parent activists in this town, too. I think the notion that we as parents, Shalane and I are now in our 14th year as public school parents. I like to say we are recovering middle school parents now that both of our kids got out of that very challenging level. So the idea of parents and family members, 1.1 million kids, being able to speak to each other, think together, plan together, advocate together. It's such a vast and important part of this city and such a crucial constituency, making their voice known in a more direct way, but also getting answers to each other. Oh, so I'm speaking into a non-working microphone, my apologies. Also getting answers to each other. I just think it's a very powerful phenomenon. It's something we want to connect with frequently, me and all of my colleagues here. So just want to note that we may be making some history, but either way, we're doing things I think is an important step in terms of deepening communication with parents. So with that, let me just do some acknowledgments of folks who are here. The woman to my right made possible my experience as a public school parent. I'd like to thank her for that. And
and throughout all of my public life has incessantly reminded me of the views and the needs of public school parents, and many a time directly from the playground, directly from school drop-off, would come back with the latest thing that we needed to focus on. And Charlene has this particular ability to make clear that the focus has to happen now, and that is a good thing when she's carrying the voices of parents. So to our First Lady, thank you. And to Deputy Mayor Richard Bury, who has just joined us in the last week. Richard is someone everyone needs to get to know, because he will be single-handedly, with no one else helping him, he is going to mount the pre-K and after-school effort and do something historic for this city. Richard will lead the effort among all of the pertinent agencies, DOE, ACS, DYCD, to greatly increase the amount of full-day pre-K in this town and after school for middle school kids. Comes to us from his previous role as president of the Children's Aid Society, so he's someone who knows what he talks about on this topic. Deputy Mayor Lillian Barrios Paoli, thank you for your leadership and been deeply involved in the pre-K and after-school effort and making sure that there's great coordination with ACS and DYCD. Our Commissioner of the Community Affairs Unit, Marco Carrion, who has his finger on the pulse of New York City and is working with community leaders all over the city as part of building out this effort and making sure we're informing the people of this city and getting them involved and getting ready for the day soon when we're going to be signing up people for these new available options. And Josh Wallach, where's Josh Wallach? Sitting in the back, who has just joined the Department of Education as the Chief Strategy Officer and is also going to play a central role in the creation of the pre-K and after school, and is going to be particularly responsible for making sure that all the apparatus at DOE is turning towards these priorities rapidly, I might add. And finally, I want to thank, I know Gloria Corsino is with us, who is the president of the Citywide District 75 Council. Thank you for your leadership among special education parents, and thank you for your advocacy for kids with special needs. And the inimitable Rebecca Levy, founder of kidviews.com. How'd you come up with the VUZ? That's what I want to know.
That's how a kid would text it.
Okay.
Adults can never say it, and every kid gets it right.
All right. I'm like, what is she trying to say with this word? You know, but that's right. I am definitely. I'm way over 12. I'm feeling it. But Rebecca, you've really been a wonderful leader and convener for parents all over the city, and you've been one of the spark plugs in making this notion of, you know, a different kind of accountability, a different kind of dialogue. You've really been one of the leaders in creating it, and now it's this extraordinary phenomenon all over the city. So I want to thank you. And if you, as our leader today, if this is this historic moment, then we'll put you in the record books as the first. Yes, you definitely are. I think Alexander Hamilton has had enough time up here. I think we need Rebecca Levy with a sword and a horse or something, right? You know? Yeah, right. An iPad, right? A sword, an iPad, and something. So just a couple of things up front. Again, you know how much it matters to us to be able to communicate back and forth directly with parents. I should note that not only is Charlene a public school parent as I am, but she is a blogger. #FlowNice. Sometimes she still lets me call her Charlene instead of #FlowNice. And look, this is a subset of something that is a deep need in this city, which is to change the communication from DOE to parents as well. It's something we've talked about in a lot of ways for a long time. One of many things that we can talk about today and going forward. The day of what I like to call the drive-by parent-teacher conference, you know, the day of thinking that is enough is over from my point of view. We have to have a much deeper connection between parents and teachers, parents and principals, because I always like to say we as parents are the first and last teachers of our children. And everyone in this room, I have no doubt, is incredibly committed parents, systematic in your efforts to support your kids. I have watched with awe Charlene's efforts I've tried to keep up in terms of supporting our children every step of the way. Going to the science fairs and going over the homework and reading to them and all the things we do. But we want to help parents do that across the board. And that is a tough thing in modern society. Work hours longer than ever. People are working a lot more just to get by. Obviously, all sorts of family dynamics that make it harder to take the time and the focus to connect with the school system, and yet it's on the school system to figure out how to meet that reality and improve the communication, because I keep saying if we do that right, not only is it, if you will, morally better, humanly better, more small d democratic, but it's also an immense opportunity for the value added of parents to be brought into the process in a systematic way. Right now, let's face it, it's basically if a parent self-selects and chooses to be deeply involved, that's great for their kids, it's great for the school that the kids go to. We're not thinking about, as a whole city, as a whole DOE, how do we encourage that, support that, teach parents how to be most effective in their involvement and how to move their kids most effectively. So I think there's so much we need to figure out how to do together to really bring parents in a deep and consistent way. That being said, we also, for Charlene and I need not say, I think everyone in the room feels their own parallel reality. The most important part of our life is Chiara and Dante. And every moment we spent supporting them was worth it. And we do it to this day, and we will do it for the rest of our lives. And so, since I think everyone in this room feels and relates to that statement, and everyone that you communicate with and for feels that statement, we want to create, and it'll take some time, but we want to create a city hall that thinks this way. We want to create a DOE that thinks this way. We want to change these dynamics, and I think it'll be something that moves everyone. And finally, before I introduce the First Lady, who will then introduce Rebecca and take us off, the voices of parents were pivotal in the creation, in the inspiration first, and then the specific creation of our pre-K and after-school plan. For Charlene and I, so much started just the moment we became parents, when we brought Chiara home from the hospital. Our world view changed, our understanding of things changed, and then 1,000 conversations or 10,000 conversations with fellow parents over the years and everything we experienced. But in that, I kept hearing a real yearning, a real crying need for more. Parents, in one way or another, were saying they needed more. They knew our schools weren't doing enough for our kids. They needed more in terms of how early we were able to reach our kids, how thoroughly we reached them, what we did to help them after school, et cetera. Our parents knew that their lives were stretched and they needed more reliability. When we started talking about full-day pre-K for every child in the city, and I said I went all over the city, the response was just as emotional in every neighborhood. It didn't matter which part of town or the background of the people I was talking to. It was visceral and intense because it was about guaranteeing something in parents' lives. Obviously, the tremendous betterment and uplift of their children, but also something in a complicated, difficult world, something guaranteed that you could build your life around for that year, knowing that when your child became pre-K age, they would be guaranteed full-day pre-K. You could plan years ahead on that knowing with all the other uncertainties, that was something for whatever number of children you had that you could build into your life plan. And the same with after school. I can't tell you how many parents said to me, one of the most searing, difficult realities in their lives was that they couldn't find a reliable, safe place for their kids to be. And I often talk to parents who came from neighborhoods where the safety of their children was understandably paramount. They wanted their kids to do better in school, that knew they needed that extra help, that tutoring, that homework help, that enrichment, or something else that would spark them, recreation or arts and culture that they could get in after school, or a little more personal attention from an adult that they could get in after school. There was so much that parents were yearning for, and that really inspired me and all of us to make this plan as bold as it is, to make it as far-reaching as it is, because parents demanded it and parents needed it, and we believe it can be done. So I know we'll talk more about this, but at this moment, let me turn to the always bold and the woman of strongly held views, who takes from her experience and turns it into a vision of where we need to go. I would like to introduce our First Lady, Charlene McRae. May I share my microphone?
Thank you, Bill. You know I have, my thoughts are all strong.
Only way.
That's right. It's the only way to go. It's impossible not to have a feeling of urgency about this subject because our children are only children but for a short time. But first I want to say good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted you could join us today. Raising a child is no small feat, and I want to commend all of you for not only engaging with your own children in a way that is going to help them prepare for tomorrow, but for helping other people to do so as well. Sometimes, all you need is like one small idea, one little piece of advice, one, possible solution, thrown out there into the, the cybersphere, and that a parent can connect with that and feel not so alone, not so isolated, and not so full of despair. And I've been there. So I know that there are hundreds and hundreds of other parents who are just so thankful for what you do, providing a space where they can connect, where they can interact, and get these ideas to help move them forward in their lives. As a mother and a blogger, flownice.tumblr.com, just got to throw that out there. I am extremely focused on spreading the word about universal pre-K and after-school programs for our middle school students. There is nothing, to me, more important than what we could be doing for our parents at this time. As Bill said, we want the best for our children. We want the best for all parents in the city, because we know they want the best for their children, and we should be able to provide that for them. We've got a plan. We've got a really good plan. We've got a lot of support, and you can help us. You can help us move this plan forward. So study after study has shown that brain development occurs in the earliest years of life. We've got the science. We've had it for years, and we know that middle school students, they're too old for babysitters, and they're too young to really be given the key to the house. They need a safe space. We know that we need to do something. And I love this plan. The government should be doing a whole lot more. I feel like the society, our government hasn't kept up with what the society needs right now. So I appreciate, again, everything that you're doing, and hope that you will join us and spread the word about pre-K and after school. So I'm going to introduce the formidable Rebecca Levy.
I said inimitable. You said formidable. These are good words.
Well, she's both. I don't think I can say them together. Inimitable and formidable.
That's good.
She is the...
Use the word formidable in a sentence.
She is the queen bee.
There you go.
And co-founder of Kids Views, a community site of user-generated videos by and for tweens. Rebecca is a committed education advocate, and she is the White House champion of Change for Education. And last but not least, she's the mother of beautiful twin daughters in the 6th grade. Rebecca, thank you for helping us, and thank you for keeping this conversation going forward.
All right.
I usually say I don't need a mic because I'm a mom of twins, but I'll
Take
it for the webcam.
Yeah, right. It doesn't hurt.
I really want to thank all of you for coming. It was really important to have this amazing mix of parent bloggers whose kids are at private school and public school and charter schools and almost all 5 boroughs. I think we missed Staten Island, but we'll get her eventually. And because I really think that these issues of pre-K and after school for middle schoolers, this is about every kid. And I think I'm so sick of parents being pitted against each other for the educational choices they've made for their child, or the mommy wars and who's staying at home and who's working. I think we can be over with that and all agree as parents that we have the care and concern of all the kids of New York City in our minds when we're also focusing on our own child. And we can look beyond just our own kid and their class and their teacher and their school to what's going on all around us. And everyone in this room really has the power to help influence that change and make it happen. So I'm really happy that you're all here and have decided to sort of use this tremendous influence that you really deserve and have built for this cause. And a lot of you sent in really great questions. So I kind of want to jump right into them and put you on the hot seat and get these questions answered. You wouldn't be the first. I would not. And this is going to be a much better forum for it. So I'm going to start. I guess you can raise your hands. I kind of know everyone. Everyone sent in great questions beforehand, but if you want to raise your hands, I'll kind of call on you. And I want to stay focused on this pre-K and after school for middle school, you know, for this session here. And hopefully we'll have more in the future on other topics that we're all concerned with. So I'll start. Kim?
When the light is on, yeah.
All right, it's on. My question is, are these programs going to be optional or mandatory? Because just like there are many people who want these programs, there are also people who have strong feelings about that time that they have with their kids, and they've structured their lives around it so that they have more family time. So is it going to be optional or mandatory?
Optional. Let me just explain it for a second, and let me also say if at any point my wife wants to jump in, I know she will not be shy. I established that ground rule. It's optional in both cases, the pre-K and the after school. And as parents, we know that many people have different approaches they want to take. And this is about giving parents who really need these options this chance. And we think, based on what we know already of the demand levels, that there's an extraordinarily high level of demand. But no, no one has to send their child to pre-K currently, let alone under our plan. You know, the current reality holds that it's not something you have to do. Generally, of course, in each district and each zone, parents are clamoring to get in. That's the problem. And then the after school, by definition, we know a lot of 6th, 7th, 8th graders have different dynamics, family dynamics, or some might be on a sports team, for example, whatever it might be. But we also know that there's a huge amount of demand not being met right now. And the plan allows those who want to take advantage, and it can be 5 days a week. In some cases, people may choose less than 5 days a week, but it's whatever fits them. But it's to give them that option.
Great, thank you.
Next question, Serena.
Can you talk about the space for these programs? So many of our schools are so overcrowded, and even existing pre-K programs are closing. So how are you going to allocate enough space for a universal pre-K program?
Let me start, and then Richard, Lilium, Josh are all experts on this, so I'd just like to encourage Josh, if you need, feel free to come up and take a microphone. The bottom line here is a very, not only a logical concern, it's been a powerful concern that people have, because I think we have to remember that in many parts of the city, this is not necessarily the first thing on parents' minds, and a lot of other things are not necessarily the first things on parents' minds. The first thing on their mind is their overcrowded schools. And I hear it in Lower Manhattan, I hear it in Central Queens, I hear it in parts of Staten Island. We've made some progress in Washington Heights, but a few years back, it used to be one of the #1 things you heard about in Washington Heights. I mean, one of the very most fundamental issues for any parent is knowing that the basics are there. Not so long ago, of course, on the Upper East Side and Upper West Side, we had a wait list, which is something we had not seen very often before, and that was a real jolt to a lot of parents. So the space issue to begin with is a central concern of this administration, which is why we've said we're going to put more capital funding into addressing the overcrowded districts in general, separate from pre-K and after school. It's a priority for us to move capital funding from some other needs towards overcrowded districts, and even within our educational choices related to the capital budget to focus on overcrowded districts. And that's obviously K to 12. But what we found, and what we thought was true, and then we had it confirmed, was that there was a lot of space nonetheless, either underutilized space in public school buildings or in community-based organizations. And we started with a very simple assumption. We had seen, I used to be the chairman of the Social Services Committee in the City Council General Welfare Committee. And I saw, as a series of cuts happened to quality childcare programs. So obviously those spaces had sadly become open. We lost 30,000 after-school seats. Those spaces became open. So a lot of us, as we started talking about this plan, and Lillian is a great veteran of all of this, it was obvious to all of us, wait a minute, you couldn't have seen so many things cut and cut and cut and not there be a lot of space available. So we put out our request to principals in the public schools and well beyond. Because we've invited a wide range of organizations, educational and community-based, to propose space. We needed 21,000 seats to make this plan work for September. We got back nominations for 29,000 seats citywide. What is it? Someone, how many 800 locations?
Yes, about
800 locations and a total of 29,000 seats. And that was just the first request we made. We know there's more behind that. So that it means, for example, anytime we're using a community-based organization space, clearly we're not contradicting the need to address the overcrowding problem of an area, because it's literally found space. It's like new space in the equation, not space that would be part of the public school equation to begin with. And then with some of the DOE space, it is in areas that are not overcrowded. So we think between that, we can actually get the pre-K up to the 53,000 plus level by September and double the middle school after school by September, while at the same time beginning the process to address overcrowding in the areas where it exists. We think these are two trains that can run simultaneously and be in coordination. Tell me if there's anything you want to add, Josh, William, Richard? Okay.
Half-day seats?
Say again?
Half-day seats that will be full-day seats? No.
Well, Lillian can talk to that, or Josh. The half-day seats that are being turned into full-day seats.
Many of the schools...
Are you on?
Nope. No. Many of the programs that had been traditionally funded through the Agency for Children's Services had half-day seats, and many of the DOE programs did too, so we're converting those into full-day. And that's another growth that we're getting. For the same, for whatever child comes, they'll have a full-day kindergarten, pre-K.
So the seat was there. It was being underutilized. We're also bringing up the quality level. But that, again, does not negatively affect the space equation in terms of overcrowded places, taking a seat that exists and using it more effectively and more extensively.
Next question, Matt.
First, thank you for having us, and thank you for including dads in this conversation. It wasn't too long ago that this would have been a mom blogger conference, so very much appreciate you being an active dad and inviting us to this conversation.
Thank you.
One problem that we have with pre-K in our school, and it's actually not going to be in our school next year because of overcrowding, is that the pre-K seats don't guarantee you a spot in kindergarten. Does your plan change that, where once a student starts school in a specific school, they get to stay at that school for as long as they want?
I'm going to look to Josh so he can formulate if he wants to add. I just want to give a frame, and then you take over representing the DOE. Because I think I left this out of the previous question. It gets to your question as well. We have 2-year phase-in under our plan. Now, obviously, we can state the obvious, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, by the end, that we need Albany to hear the concerns of the parents of the city and provide the resources. But we phase in over 2 school years, big piece in September and then finish for the following school year. And what we've said is we think that the existing school space plus the CBO space can get us a lot of what we need done in a lot of areas without, again, affecting the overcrowding dynamics negatively. But there are some areas where the only solution will be to create a pre-K center. And that's a capital dollars issue. It's not part of the same funding stream we're talking about in terms of the core of pre-K and after school. That would take city capital funds, and we've committed to that. Because we have to build out this plan. We believe it is mission critical for the future of the city. So there will be places where instead of going to your neighborhood school or a community-based organization down the block, you and parents from the next elementary school over and the next one over and the next one over all go to one centrally located pre-K center, and this place is just pre-K. So what I don't know then is what that would do to the sort of automaticness of the next step of the equation, because obviously we're greatly increasing the pre-K, and we're doing it citywide. So Josh, pick it up from there.
Sure. I'm not sure this is working, but I'll give it. Okay. So I guess I would just say, first of all, just to amplify the mayor's point, I think that we're hopeful that what we're seeing in some neighborhoods where there is not space in public school at the moment for pre-K, and we hope there will be as we work on school capacity, we are seeing strong responses from community-based organizations, often within walking distance of those schools. Not in all cases. It will be a challenge that we have to confront over time, but we are seeing some of that in some neighborhoods, so more to come on that. As far as the enrollment processes, I'm on day 5 of the job and don't know all the details. I know there are separate enrollment processes for each of those. It would obviously be better if it was a seamless system. So I think what I'll do is have to investigate that and get back to you. But I think that as we expand capacity across the system, both in pre-K and K through 12, obviously that system will get easier to navigate.
You can imagine it tears a school apart when you have kids that are at school one year, they go into a process to get into the kindergarten, and then they're told that they can't come to the school because there's not enough seats. So it's a critical part of the school community and resolving some problems within the school community.
Well, and that's the other point. Again, this is something we need to build over time, but where we do turn to pre-K centers that several zone schools will feed into, in the process, you may have the opportunity to open up more space in the zone schools so you can create more of that continuity. Because from our point of view, and we experienced something that is beloved in our family, which is our children did have the opportunity. We were very lucky. They got to go to full day pre-K and continue on in the same building. But for so many parents who don't have any pre-K or only half day, which I think I imagine I could get a quick consensus in this room that half day pre-K is incredibly unworkable for a lot of parents' lives and schedules. And something that unites us all is that is kind of crazy in the modern world and also not educationally sufficient for the kind of grounding that kids need. The fact is that if you have a pre-K center, where we do that, in the areas we do that, so the child goes into that center and that is their first taste of the DOE and the larger learning experience, and then they move over for good into a zone school and stay there. That's still a very good system because it's going to give a lot more opportunity to a lot more people.
Right.
And that's the vision. I have to make one parenthetical comment. Yesterday, because we are working with everyone, and we think this is a big tent in how we go about pre-K and after school. And the pre-K piece, we've seen extraordinary response from the Catholic school system, from Jewish schools, from charter-affiliated organizations. We've gotten a really broad response, and we want to engage everyone because we want to put this up quickly, and we need all hands on deck. So I went with Cardinal Dolan to St. Francis Assisi School in the Bronx, in Baychester. And we went table to table with these 4- and 5-year-olds. And they were, first of all, singularly unimpressed that the cardinal and the mayor were there. So I just want to report that. One of them asked if either one of us was the president, and when told neither one was, became entirely uninterested in the discussion. So these kids, it's what we've all seen. They're super focused. Whatever their activity, or painting, and they're doing different activities, they were super focused. They were counting. They were on task. Like we asked a little girl who was 5, where are you at? We're counting. Now she had a bunch of beans in front of her. How many beans is that? And she goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's 1 to 20. And we all know what that means in terms of the trajectory that kids are going to be on, and the chances of really locking on, being on grade level, staying on grade level. So that's what's so powerful. And if pre-K centers are one of the things that allows us to make sure we get to everyone, that will be a priority. But Josh, we'll get you more by way of follow-up.
Great, thanks.
Next question, Adam.
Hi, there you go. Hi, I'm Adam Cohn from Data Rocks, and I am very proud to have my son in public schools. He actually just survived the pre-K process of the half day, where we had to go and pick him up at 11:30 in the morning, which did become, challenging.
Challenging.
But now he's in kindergarten. And one of the challenges that I see, and this is going to your middle school after-school programs, is that in the after-school programs in kindergarten through fifth grade and then 6th through 8th, my question becomes, what about the medical needs for children that have allergies, for diabetes, that need nurses out in station? Currently, the nurse leaves at the end of the school day, and the after-school program has none of those availabilities. So it's your responsibility to either be there with your child during the after-school program for those with medical necessities, or provide a nurse, which, as you can imagine, is just not reasonable. So I know that there are several, as allergies and as medical needs of children become more and more prevalent, there's this need to have more oversight into that. And so my question becomes, in part of your plan of after school, has that been put into any consideration?
This is why talking to parent bloggers is so valuable, because you're already coming up with important specifics that we need to address. And I'm going to, as I make a quick broad statement, I want to turn to any of my colleagues who wants to fill in the blank. I think that's a really good question that we need to fill in the blank on. Just the preface is that our bigger vision for our schools over time, this will not happen overnight by any stretch of the imagination, but is the community school model. Now, Richard is one of the people on this earth who knows the most about this model, because the Children's Aid Society helped to develop it. And then it was brazenly stolen by the city of Cincinnati, and now they do it in every single one of their schools. And the reason I say it's very pertinent to your question, the community schools model means you have a wide range of different services available in a public school, including nurses and physical health, including mental health capacity, that address the whole child and often end up positively engaging the whole family and make the school a centerpiece for the community in a very different way. It's had extraordinary impact in Cincinnati. I saw it with my own eyes. It's breathtaking. And we've said in my platform, our goal is to get to 100 of those schools by the end of this term and then keep going. Another fun thing that Richard's going to have to get done while he single-handedly achieves pre-K and after school on a vast scale. But he doesn't need to eat or sleep, so it's going to go great. So the point is, that gets to the impulse of your question, that we want that continuity. It's going to take time to create in the core of our schools, but the after school is a great question. Who wants to jump in?
Hello. So yes, I think that's it's an excellent point. After-school programs are not required to have a nurse on duty, but one of the things that we're committed to, and throughout all these programs, is making sure that we're able to accommodate the needs of children. And so we are committed to making sure that we have a plan in each school for individual students who might need particular support, to make sure we can get that support. But like the mayor said, it's important to have these conversations, because we're learning, we're taking feedback as we design the model now, and as we implement it on the ground, we'll be able to meet families' needs. And I think, like any other initiative, it's going to grow and get better over time. So the more and more we identify what the challenges and obstacles are, the better we'll be able to meet those needs. And then just to what the mayor was saying about community schools, the power of the community schools model is really having a school-wide strategy for addressing the comprehensive needs of children and families in that school during the school day, during the weekends, after school. And so again, the more we build up our capacity to think about schools as centers where children can have all their needs met, the better we as a city will be able to address the needs of the one you described. It's not going to all be fixed and perfect on day one, but our commitment is to making sure that we're moving farther and farther towards having a system that can really meet the needs of every child.
So from just a very concrete point of view, I think what we will do is make sure that in the intake form, when the child comes to apply for the after school, we have something that says what are the medical needs, so that then we can make plans for that to be taken care of. So whether it is that they need a nurse on site, or they need the teacher trained in particular things, or, I know it's complicated because not every teacher can do the things that they need to be done. But if we know the concrete needs, so we will add that question about medical needs just to make sure we're covered on that, because we do want kids to be mainstreamed. We don't have to have 1 or 2 places only for children with medical needs. So we will make sure to do that.
And I will say, as part of a parent that's we're down here at PS 397, and if you haven't seen this school, it is impressive. It's at the base of the Gary building. And one of my fears of going into the public schools was I was going to feel like we were just a number. And in that school, the principal knows pretty much every kid's name, knows most of the parents' name by first name. It's such a community feeling at PS 397. I couldn't thank the school, the DOE enough for having a place like that, and where I could call them, that's my child's school, and feel proud about that. So
That's
thank you
awesome.
for that.
There's nothing better than a good New York City public school.
Amen. Amen, sure.
Liz.
Hi. Thank you. I'm Liz Gumbiner. I'm a fellow Brooklyn parent, so hi, neighbor. I have 2 kids at PS8, which is also a wonderful, wonderful school. And I'm also the daughter of an educational consultant who works in the city and publishes a blog called goingpublic.org. So I am immersed in this all day long from all ends. So one of my concerns lately is high-stakes testing. And I'm particularly concerned how that may trickle down to the preschool level, because we're already starting to hear rumblings about Pearson and other for-profit testing companies that are interested in implementing testing to 3rd and 4th graders. I'm sorry, 3 and 4-year-olds. They're already doing 3rd and 4th graders. So I'm curious what your point of view is about that, and what are the plans to measure outcomes for these programs so that they keep their funding without what I think is kind of an immoral amount of pressure put on very young children who maybe shouldn't be tested to this level
Yeah,
yet.
I agree with you. I'll say something simple, and then Josh, if you want to fill in any blank. We don't believe in high-stakes testing in the youngest grades, and we're not going to do it. And we think there's other better ways to measure. I mean, look, my macro view is I think that high-stakes testing, the over-reliance on high-stakes testing, the over-focus on high-stakes testing has led us astray, writ large, educationally. I've said many times we are legally required by state and federal law to do a certain amount, and we will work with that. But we believe in multiple measures, and we certainly don't believe in taking the problems of high-stakes testing to the younger grades. So there's a better way. Josh, you want to pick up?
I would just say that the practice in early childhood programs and what we would do in our pre-K program is we really rely on teacher observations that are, and teachers that are trained to observe in very particular ways, so to look hard at cognitive development, social development, and physical development, and track that progress over time in a systematic way. But it's based on daily observations of children, playing and learning together over time. That's the way we want to do it. And then we also have more standardized assessments of the learning environment and how well the teacher's interacting with the children to help us tell whether a program's performing well over time. But those are the sorts of assessments that we'll rely on.
Great. Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. Anna, I got pinged. So I'm going to give it to Anna.
Thanks for having us. I also have 2 children in public school, and I'm very grateful to have after school for my son, even though I'm a blogger and he thinks I'm sitting home eating bonbons all day. I am a working mom, and I don't know what I would do without after school. But really, universal pre-K is, if I had a single issue, that would be my single issue. I think it's so core to the American dream that we have the free, excellent education, and we know now that we have to start younger. So I hope this is something that we can bring to every child in New York City. That said, I also know that there are empty seats now in pre-K, because whether it's an outreach issue or there's working parents that even 9 to 3 isn't enough for them. So what can we do to make sure that when we have these seats, we know that the kids that need them are filling them, whether, can we as bloggers help? Are you going to use us as community outreach? Or, is there going to be support for working parents who really need more than 9 to 3? What can we do to help that?
Fantastic question, and very much appreciated. And yes, and we need to work very closely on this. So let me frame it for a quick second. We're in a moment of history. I believe this is a decisive moment in history. I think once upon a time, a century ago, the fight was over stopping child labor and establishing universal public education. And then, we deepened all of our assumptions as a society, and also as our world evolved, our technology evolved, our culture evolved, our economy evolved. We kept changing our assumptions. Shirlane likes to point out we're still working with an agrarian calendar in terms of the school system, so we haven't changed anywhere near enough. But we do have to recognize the historical arc here, from no guarantee of public education and the assumption that kids sadly would work to moving past that. But by the way, we're talking that's the 1930s when child labor was outlawed. Not so long ago. People, go out in the street and you can find people who are alive at the time when that happened. We then moved forward through the notion of, we're going to provide first through 12, and then we're going to provide kindergarten. And yet things haven't kept up. Because, to Charlene's point, the agrarian calendar, to a lot of the commentary around the table, we're still working in a way that doesn't fit parents' lives and schedules. And so our job, and why it's a decisive moment, is our job is to finally make the education system respond to our modern society and align to it. And to actually align to the lives of the people it's supposed to serve. And to not accept failure anymore. Because the generalized reality I've been talking about a lot lately, there's been some self-congratulation over the last years in New York City about our school system, and I can't buy into that because 1 in 4 of our graduates is college ready. 3 out of 4 of our graduates are not college ready. That's our graduates, let alone the kids that we lose who drop out. 12% of our African American graduates are college ready. 11% of our Latino graduates are college ready. We are so far off the mark, and we have to change the foundations, and we can't do it for just a few. We have to do it for everyone. This is historic. This is vast in terms of undertaking, but it has to be done. And we also are in a moment, just this last year or two, where, thank God, pre-K is being talked about to the great credit of the President of the United States. President Obama is talking about pre-K. Governor Cuomo is talking about pre-K. It's an issue whose time has come, but then we have to grab that moment. So I think the answer is that we want to show people that the capacity is there, but it's not just physical space. It's great teachers who are highly trained, who we're constantly adding to the training of. It's high quality. Look, we can all talk about the way the Common Core curriculum has been handled, and I'm very critical of how it's been implemented, but the concept of the Common Core, I think, has merit, which is raise standards to the reality of the modern world. Our pre-Ks are going to be based on a Common Core curriculum, not the standardized testing at all. We do not believe in that, but the curriculum we will use, because we want to show parents this is a great, strong start for your kids. So to your question then about will people apply, I think when people see quality and quantity, not the 3 hours that creates the dislocation, but an actual, first of all, a full day. We'll get to the after-school part as well, but first the full day, and a high-quality program that there's no question, as I saw yesterday in the Bronx, is uplifting kids and getting them ready. That's what every parent wants. So I think the demand will increase because it's sort of, if you build it, they will come, when they see the product. And then I think you're right. There's still going to be an even deeper need. And we're trying to address the middle school level because we think it is the missing link in the school system in many ways in general. It's never gotten the attention it deserves, and we know that as good as we do at pre-K, we have to keep reinforcing, so that's it. But our job is to go deeper constantly, to stretch out even farther in terms of the pre-K day, to start reaching down to 3-year-olds over time. I mean, these are big, structural, difficult things. But I believe in my heart, if we win the battle for pre-K and after school here and now in New York City, all the other doors start to open. I really believe that. So as to what can be done, I think you guys play a central role. You have tremendous voices, and people respect your voices, listen, pay attention. And I think they need to hear your urgency, that this has to happen, it has to happen now. I think our friends in Albany, and we're talking to all the leaders in Albany all the time. Even though there's some differences of philosophy, it doesn't mean we can't get somewhere together. But they need to hear your voices. They need to hear parents say, great, have your differences, but we're waiting for our product. We're waiting for our outcome because we need this to happen in September. And I think if your voices are strong and clear in that process, and it's personal, and you're blogging about it, and you're tweeting about it, and you're telling your legislators how much it matters to you personally, I think the decisive moment will be realized, and it will be a transcendent moment for our schools.
Thank you. We're going to stop now because we're going to do pictures, but I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank the mayor and first lady because I don't think parents have been invited to City Hall ever. So this was amazing, and I think it's amazing to have an administration that are public school parents, but also really want to hear from parents and engage parents, and I would never take this for granted. I think this is an amazing thing, and so thank you both. Yes.
Will you all come back another time for another set of topics? I extend an invitation.
I was going to say, we spent a lot of time on the steps, but we didn't get inside.
Yeah, right, yes. Yes, you know the steps well.
I know them well.
It's warmer in here. It really is.
So thank you. So we're going to take pictures, and we're going to start with Liz. You're going to have like a whole foot around.
A blog assembly line.
A blog assembly. They're very good at it. They know exactly what to do.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Sir, ma'am, if you want.
Can you guys just have your camera?
Hey, Matt. We just figured like, all right, how did Renali, in what order did you say you want to start?
Here, let's take, do you want to take one and pass it I'm also leaving copies for Pastor. These are our 3 implementation reports that we've released so far. They're also available on nyc.gov, but hard copies are being circulated now. Is this information about like the funding? It's all based on that. Okay. Yeah, so it's all based on that, but it's about space.
The bond's got
like,
actually
preparing. Into it's been like, so far. So far. Yeah, but